I've not long finished listening to the Steven Gerrard interview with Ally McCoist. There's a lot I can kind of say, and the thing is, I didn't say that much, but according to him, if he'd been given 6 million by Rangers to sign Joey Veerman, he wouldn't have left when he left. Now, Steven Gerrard is, for the most part, a pretty stand-up guy. We don't need to talk about him kind of going to Saudi and that. I mean, fully believe that's financially based. But nobody will convince me any different. So I mean, if he says that that's the case, and we kind of know there's a bit of that anyway, because he felt like he wasn't backed properly by the club in the summer after winning 55 and going undefeated, and I would agree with that. He also said that he didn't think that team was capable of going and dominating domestically. Again, I would agree with that. That season, you could probably call an anomaly, to be honest with you. Rangers went undefeated. Another good season, did well in Europe. The Cups was really poor once again. So yeah, if that happens, if we sign Joey Veerman, do we then qualify? It depends when, obviously, sign. Do we then qualify for the Champions League? Does Gio never happen, which means we don't get the Seville run. I don't think that would have happened under Steven Gerrard. I'm not saying he wouldn't have been capable of getting Rangers to the Europa League final, but I don't think it would have happened. Gio would change systems a lot and adapt to teams, whereas me and mate have spoken about this before with Steven Gerrard. There wasn't necessarily a plan B, it was just do plan A better. So I don't think that Seville would have happened. I've also said this all along, that if that winter break wasn't brought forward, and this is when Gio was in charge, that Celtic wouldn't have won that league. We would have beaten them at Celtic Park and the title race would have been over. But it was brought forward, it only benefited one team. Obviously they did some astute business, then went on to win the league, and they haven't really stopped since. A couple of things that wouldn't have happened. I mean, Rangers probably maybe wouldn't have won the Scottish Cup that season because Gerrard in the Cups wasn't very good. We may have. We certainly wouldn't have been hosed at Celtic Park by Celtic on the maybe the 3rd of January, whatever date it was, and it certainly wouldn't have happened then the second season. I'm not saying Celtic wouldn't have beat Rangers in those games. They may well have, but they certainly wouldn't have hosed Rangers. Rangers, under Steven Gerrard, didn't really get hammered by anyone. And I can't help kind of thinking to myself, if Joey Veerman had been signed, I mean, Steven Gerrard's team, it wasn't like a team that was laced with quality. I mean, Joe Rebo had quality, and Kent at times had quality, and Morelos had quality moments, although his best attributes was kind of holding the ball up and using his strength, basically. But he obviously had quality as well. And Tavernier and Barisic had the quality from their deliveries. And I think had Rangers signed a player like Joey Veerman, that could have made a big difference. I mean, if they'd signed one or two players, and then you don't get the disaster with Michael Beale, where he spent all that money. You don't get you don't get the Europa League run with Gio, but domestically under Gio, it wasn't great. I have to be honest about that. I mean, in terms of the football and some of the results as well, it wasn't the most inspiring football. In that Europa League run, absolutely incredible, and we'll always have that. But it's, I suppose, kind of like sitting here right now. What would you rather have? I've won back-to-back league titles, which again, no guarantee in that. But Rangers were, I believe, 7 points clear of Celtic at the time when Steven Gerrard left. Celtic may well have gone and won the league. We'll never know that. I'm not trying to revise history here. I think had Rangers won it that second season, I mean, I do think with the players that Ange Postecoglou brought into Celtic and how well things started to click there, I think that he would have won it in that second season anyway. I mean, I suppose it depends on obviously what business Rangers would have done if Steven Gerrard was still in charge. I mean, I'd imagine if he won back-to-back titles, he probably would have been off into the sunset anyway. So it's just interesting. It's not the best timing, obviously, because Rangers blew a massive chance to get back in the title race and are arguably out of it now. But I suppose it'd be amiss to not really kind of talk about it. And I think we can probably agree, like looking at that team, it was more of a workman-like team. The likes of Kamara, you had Ryan Jack, you had Goldson, you had Hollander, although he ended up getting injured, Balogun. It was more of a difficult team to beat rather than a team that was just top quality. Obviously Hadji had quality as well, and he had that horrific injury and was never really kind of the same. So yeah, I'm not looking to kind of revise history, but it's just interesting what would kind of happened. As far as him coming back to Rangers, I wasn't necessarily for it. I mean, I don't doubt we would be in a better... I don't know. With this group of players. And I know that there's a lot of Rangers supporters that think we should have brought in Kevin Muscat, and that's fair enough. I'm not going to change your mind on that. I don't necessarily think we'd be in a better position domestically right now either, because you're still dealing with the same players. So I know there's going to be a lot of people saying for Danny Rule to be out. I think the fairest thing to say is probably the jury's kind of still out until he gets his own players. There's been some green shoots of recovery. Obviously yesterday was a huge setback, and I believe Hearts wanted it more, and we were terrible. I think as far as Europe goes, before he kind of came in, that was near enough kind of like a done deal anyway. So I mean, it was always going to be very difficult to turn that around. Such was the damage done in the early parts of the campaign. I kind of feel like I'm rambling a bit now. But yeah, it's just interesting what could have happened. I mean, could 6 million have made all the difference, and we wouldn't be having these kind of conversations and gone through a few different managers? And I mean, ultimately, unless Rangers had been winning every season and been getting into the Champions League, financially there still would have been implications, especially if they'd spent the money with Beale with someone else, or the money with Gio, although Gio didn't get the players he wanted. He got very poor, I suppose, replacements is probably the best you can kind of say. But yeah, January's going to be interesting. Hopefully can get some players in quickly, and hopefully they can hit the ground running quickly and be the right type of player. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of really it. But yeah, it would have been amiss to not really mention the kind of Steven Gerrard interview and what he said with regards to Rangers. Anyway, sorry it was such a long video.